The night before the final championship, the sprinter closes her eyes and runs the race. She sees the blocks, the gun, the drive-out, the line coming toward her, and the moment she crosses it first. She does not visualize tying her shoes. She does not rehearse walking into the stadium or the bus ride there or opening the door of the locker room. So why are you visualizing a text message? Stay with me, because this one mistake is the reason you keep getting crumbs of the thing you want instead of the thing itself. And by the end of this, you will know exactly what to imagine instead. Let me say first that you have not been foolish. You have been sincere and you have been working. Simply, no one told you this. You wanted the relationship. And because the relationship felt enormous and far and frankly a little unbelievable, you reached for something smaller, something the mind could accept, a text, just a text, something to prove the law is real, something to hold on to. And I understand that completely. But look closely at what you actually asked for. You did not ask for love. You asked for a notification, and you were answered exactly, because you are always answered exactly. The phone lit up, and then it went dark again, and you were left standing where you were, needing another one. That is the pattern I want to name for you, because you have lived it and never had a word for it. Got it, lost it. Got it, lost it. The text came, and for 1 hour you believed. Then the silence returned, and you began again, imagining another text, a slightly better one this time, and around it went. You thought you were manifesting. You were running a loop. You were rehearsing the act of waiting over and over, and life gave you a great deal of waiting, because that is what you practiced. This is what athletes understand, and you have not been told. What you rehearse is what you get good at. Rehearse the finish line, and something in you learns to cross it. Rehearse waiting for the phone, and you become an expert at waiting for the phone. And still, there is something more important underneath this, and it is the reason the whole thing has been so much harder than it needed to be. You have been trying to build the bridge by hand. I have told you before what actually happens when you assume the wish fulfilled. A bridge of incidents appears in your world, a series of events, one after another, that carry you from where you now stand to the fulfillment of what you imagined. And here is the part almost no one hears me say. That bridge appears in a way that you cannot know and do not need to consciously devise. The assumption builds the bridge, not you. You do not lay a single brick of it. Your one task, your only task, is to go to the end and start there, and the road arranges itself behind you in a manner you would never have thought of and could not have arranged if you tried. So when you sit down and carefully imagine a text message arriving, understand what you are actually doing. You are doing the deeper mind's job for it, badly. You have reached into the bridge, pulled out one brick, and made that brick your whole religion. And you got the brick. You cannot walk on a brick. I want to be very clear here, because I know some of you have manifested small things, and I do not want you to think you did wrong. Manifesting something small is not the error. Test the law. Test it on something modest and unimportant and see for yourself. Imagine a pink car and see a pink car. Imagine a yellow umbrella, a certain flower, a ginger cat crossing the road. Do it and prove to yourself that the law is faithful. There is nothing at all wrong with that, and I have always told people to test me. Because a pink car is an end. You wanted to see a pink car. You saw a pink car. The thing is complete. The law is proven. The matter is closed. The text is not an end. Nobody's life goal is a notification. Nobody on their last day is grateful for a message that arrived on a Tuesday. The text is a step on a road you were never asked to design. So hear the distinction, because it is the whole of it. Small is fine, fragments are not. Now I know what has been sitting in your chest this whole time, because it is the honest objection, and it deserves an honest answer. You are thinking, I cannot hold the end. I have tried. When I imagine the whole thing, the relationship, the life, my body will not accept it. Something in me tightens and says, look at your actual situation. Look what just happened to you. Who do you think you are? The small thing feels possible. The end feels like a lie I am telling myself. I hear you, and you are not broken for feeling that. But notice what you just said. Your body refuses the end because it is measuring the end against your present circumstances. Of course it is. The present circumstances were made by the assumption you are currently living in. You are asking the old state to approve the new one, and it never will. That is not a sign the end is impossible. It is only the old state defending itself, the way an old state always does. You do not need your body's permission. You need only to keep returning. Go to the end again, and again, not by force, not by straining, but the way you would walk back into a room you had briefly stepped out of. Each return makes it a little more natural, and naturalness is the only thing the deeper mind is waiting for. So here is what to do instead, and it is simpler than what you have been doing. Go to the end and start there. Not the text, not the phone call, not the knock at the door, the end. The relationship already settled and ordinary. Him beside you on a Sunday morning while you make coffee, saying nothing in particular, the way people do when they have been together a long time. The apartment already yours, and you brushing your teeth in that bathroom, bored at home. The job already yours, and you complaining mildly about the commute. Make it dull. That is not a mistake. That is the instruction. The scene should be so ordinary that it could only be true if the whole thing were already done. That is how you know you are at the end and not on the road. And then leave the road alone. Maybe he writes you a letter. Maybe he knocks on your door. Maybe you run into him somewhere neither of you expected to be, and it is nothing at all like the scene you were rehearsing for months. Maybe he does text you, and it is the most ordinary text in the world, and you barely notice it, because by then it is simply what people who are together do. You do not get to choose the brick, and you were never meant to. One last thing, and it will save you a great deal of suffering. Stop looking for signs. I know why you look. You want proof that it is working, something to hold, some small evidence that the world is moving. But hear what the looking actually says. To search for a sign is to confess you do not yet believe. You cannot be a thing and be looking for evidence of it at the same time. The man who has it does not scan the horizon for hints that he has it. If a sign comes, wonderful, let it come. But do not go hunting for it, and do not build your faith on it. Signs follow. They do not precede. So leave the shoes alone. Leave the stadium door, and the bus, and the phone. Go to the end. Live there, in the most boring possible way, until it is natural. And then let the bridge build itself, in a way you do not know, and were never asked to devise. You have been trying to carry the bricks. Put them down, and walk.